Are you ready to dive into the abyss of terror? Join us as we explore the top 5 terrifying scary stories that will haunt your dreams. The night is dark, and the shadows are long. The only light source is a single flickering bulb casting dancing shadows on the walls. We begin our descent into the unknown. Prepare yourselves, for what you are about to hear may send shivers down your spine. These stories are not for the faint of heart. Imagine a place where hope goes to die. The air is thick with the scent of decay, and the silence is broken only by the dripping of water from rusted pipes. This is no ordinary hospital. This is a place where the veil between our world and the next wears thin. The year is 1987. A young nurse, fresh out of school, begins her first night shift at Mercy Hospital. It's a place with a dark history, whispered amongst the staff, but never spoken aloud. The nurse, oblivious, goes about her duties, her footsteps echoing through deserted corridors. As the hours crawl by, the silence becomes oppressive. A chill creeps into the air, and the shadows seem to lengthen and writhe. Suddenly, a crash from the abandoned wing. Her heart pounding, the nurse cautiously makes her way towards the sound. The door creaks open, revealing a room bathed in an eerie green glow. Medical equipment lies scattered across the floor, and the air is thick with the metallic scent of blood. In the center of the room, a figure stands shrouded in shadow. The figure turns, its face obscured by the darkness. The nurse gasps. She can sense the emptiness in its eyes, the cold, hollow gaze of something not quite human. A low moan escapes the figure's lips, and it begins to shuffle towards her, its arms outstretched. Terror grips the young nurse. She stumbles back, fleeing the room, the figure's moans echoing through the empty corridors. She runs through the hospital, desperate to escape the chilling presence. Finally, she bursts through the main entrance and into the night, the hospital and its horrors fading into the distance. But even now, years later, she cannot shake the feeling of icy dread, the memory of the hollow-eyed figure, forever seared into her mind. The abandoned hospital remains, a haunting reminder of the night terror walked the halls. Deep within the heart of a primeval forest where ancient trees twist and groan under the weight of centuries, lies a place of whispers and shadows. This is no ordinary forest. This is a place where souls lost in the darkness wander aimlessly, their cries carried on the wind. Legend has it that the forest was once a place of peace and tranquility, but a battle, fought long ago, stained the ground with blood, and the spirits of the fallen were trapped, unable to find peace. Now they roam the woods, their anguished cries echoing through the trees. A group of friends, eager for adventure, venture into the forest, their laughter echoing through the trees. They are young and they do not heed the warnings of the locals, dismissing them as old wives' tales. They soon learn, however, that some legends are rooted in truth. As they venture deeper into the woods, the air grows heavy, and the sunlight struggles to penetrate the dense canopy. The temperature drops, and a cold, damp mist clings to the ground. The friends' laughter fades, replaced by an uneasy silence. Suddenly, they hear it. A faint rustling in the undergrowth, followed by the sound of footsteps approaching. They stop, their hearts pounding in their chests, their eyes scanning the darkness. The footsteps grow louder, closer, until they are all around them. The friends huddle together, their fear palpable. They can hear whispers in the darkness, voices calling their names, beckoning them deeper into the woods. They know they must escape, but the forest seems to have a life of its own, closing in around them, trapping them in its embrace. Lost and disoriented, they wander through the endless maze of trees, the whispers and footsteps their constant companions. The forest has claimed them, drawing them into its dark heart, where they will join the other lost souls forever trapped in its shadowy depths. In a dimly lit antique shop, nestled amongst dusty shelves and forgotten treasures, sits a porcelain doll. Its once vibrant colors have faded, its painted smile now cracked and sinister. This is no ordinary doll, this is a vessel for something ancient and malevolent, a conduit for terror. The doll was discovered in the attic of an old Victorian mansion, its porcelain face staring blankly from a dusty trunk. The family who found it, intrigued by its eerie beauty, decided to keep it, unaware of the darkness it harbored within. At first, nothing seemed amiss. The doll sat quietly on a shelf in the living room, its glassy eyes staring out at the world. But as days turned into nights, a sense of unease began to creep into the house. Objects would move inexplicably, whispers would be heard in the dead of night, and the temperature would plummet without reason. The family, at first, dismissed these occurrences as their imaginations playing tricks on them, but as the phenomena grew more frequent and intense, they couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. The doll, they realized, was the epicenter of the disturbances. One night, the family's youngest daughter awoke to a chilling sight. The doll, which had been sitting on her dresser, was now perched at the foot of her bed, its glassy eyes staring directly at her. The girl screamed, alerting her parents, but when they rushed into the room, the doll was gone. The doll continued to appear and disappear at will, always watching, always present. The family, driven to their wits' end, decided to get rid of the doll, hoping to banish the evil that had invaded their home. They took it back to the antique shop where they had found it and left it there, hoping to sever their ties with the cursed object. But the doll, it seems, had other plans. For even now, it sits in the antique shop, its porcelain face cracked and sinister, waiting for a new owner, a new victim to terrorize. On a desolate stretch of highway, where the only sound is the hum of tires on asphalt, a lone car speeds through the night. The driver, weary from a long journey, glances at the rearview mirror, and his blood runs cold. In the back seat, a shadowy figure sits watching him. He blinks, hoping to dispel the image, but the figure remains. It is a gaunt, skeletal form, its face obscured by darkness, its eyes burning with an eerie, otherworldly light. The driver feels a chill creep down his spine, a sense of dread that seeps into his bones. He tries to rationalize the sighting, blaming fatigue, but deep down he knows that what he saw was real. The figure, he realizes, is not merely a figment of his imagination. It is something far more sinister, something that has crossed over from the realm of shadows. Fear grips him, and he presses down on the accelerator, desperate to outrun the ghostly presence. The car speeds through the night, the engine roaring in protest, but the figure in the back seat remains, its eyes fixed on the driver, its presence a suffocating weight in the confined space. The driver's mind races, searching for an explanation, a way to escape the nightmare unfolding before him. He glances again at the rearview mirror, and his heart leaps into his throat. The figure is closer now, its skeletal hand reaching out towards him, its fingers long and bony, its touch promising unimaginable horror. He slams on the brakes, the car skidding dangerously on the asphalt, and leaps out, running blindly into the darkness. He doesn't look back, his mind filled with the image of the skeletal figure, its burning eyes, its touch a fate worse than death. The car sits abandoned on the highway, a silent testament to the terror that unfolded within its metal shell. The rearview mirror reflects nothing but darkness. But the driver knows that the ghostly figure is still out there, lurking in the shadows, waiting for its next victim. In a forgotten corner of a dusty library, hidden behind locked doors and layers of ancient parchment, lies a book bound in human skin. Its pages, filled with arcane symbols and chilling incantations, whisper of forbidden knowledge, of doorways to realms beyond human comprehension. This is no ordinary book, this is a portal to nightmares, a vessel of unspeakable terror. The book, known only as the Nightmare Manuscript, is said to have been written centuries ago by a sorcerer who delved too deep into the mysteries of the universe. He filled its pages with his darkest discoveries, with rituals meant to summon creatures from the abyss, with knowledge that could shatter the very fabric of reality. The book's existence remained a secret for centuries, passed down through generations of occultists, each one too terrified to unlock its true potential. But one day, it fell into the hands of a young scholar, a man consumed by a thirst for knowledge, a man blind to the dangers that lay hidden within the manuscript's pages. Driven by a reckless curiosity, the scholar began to decipher the book's arcane symbols. He spent countless nights hunched over its pages, whispering the incantations under his breath, unaware of the darkness he was inviting into his world. As he delved deeper into the manuscript, his dreams became plagued by nightmares. He saw visions of twisted creatures, heard voices whispering his name from the darkness, felt an icy dread seep into his bones. The book, he realized, was corrupting him, feeding off his sanity, warping his perception of reality. Desperate to break free from the book's grip, he tried to destroy it, but the pages refused to burn. The ink seemed to mock his efforts. The words pulsated with an eerie life of their own. The book, it seemed, had a will of its own, and it had chosen him as its vessel. The scholar, driven to madness by the book's relentless assault on his mind, disappeared without a trace. His fate remains a mystery, But the Nightmare Manuscript, it is rumored, still exists, waiting for another unsuspecting soul to unlock its secrets, to unleash the horrors that lie dormant within its cursed pages. As we emerge from the abyss of terror, remember that these stories are but whispers in the darkness. The shadows may dance and the wind may moan, but the real monsters, the true horrors, often lurk within our own hearts. We bid you farewell, but the darkness never truly sleeps. It lingers in the corners of our minds, waiting for the moment to strike, to unleash its chilling embrace. Sleep tight and remember, the dark is just a story away.